Hello everybody, my name is Bookie and I'm here for the Good Eve channel. And today I am going to be answering 2 of your questions. I'm so excited that my followers and subscribers have begun to send questions to me. So I'm going to address 2 today. So the first question is really dealing with get quick rich schemes or money doubling schemes or things like that.
I got a bad
So I'm going to read
about
off
this.
The question. So this is from Amina. So I'm not going to say her last name, obviously, for confidentiality. So she said, I'm a 32-year-old widow, and I never got to work while my husband was alive, as he gave me all that I could ever need and placed me on a salary. But when he died, things changed drastically for me and my kids. My in-laws laid claim to the property because I had no male child for him. Adjusting back to hustling life has been quite difficult for me, but I just have to keep pushing through for the kids. Right now, I'm exhausted by it all. I've tried several platforms like MMM, Forex trading, etc. But I keep losing my money and turning out worse. I would like to know if there are any legitimate platforms to get money quickly or do these get rich quick schemes, or do all these get rich quick schemes not work at all? Wow. So Amina, the first thing I would say is that I'm really sorry for the loss of your husband, and I'm really sorry that your in-laws have taken the stand that they've taken, considering your husband's entitlements and his property. One thing I do have to say, I'm really impressed is your heart, that you have the heart to keep pushing forward and striving to look after your children. And I think, number one, that's a really good attitude and mindset to have. So in terms of your question, which is you'd like to know if there are any legitimate platforms for getting money quickly. So my first answer will be no. There are no legitimate platforms for making money quickly. Anyone that promises you that will not be able to sustain it in the long run. So, for instance, gambling. It's legitimate in many cases, sometimes illegitimate, but it's also not sustainable. So I should say there are some legitimate platforms, but they often can't guarantee that you'll get money quickly. So it's like luck of the draw. For every 1 person that wins at gambling, there are probably 100 people or 10 people who lose. So if you are more likely to be a loser than a winner, the truth is that in theory, it's a get rich quick solution, but in reality, it won't be. So another one that people often talk about are, for instance, some of these crowdfunding and crowdsourcing platforms that you give them money and then they'll give you a return of like 40% over 8 months, or sometimes 60%, sometimes 30% or 25%. Once interest rates in this environment, and I'm speaking specifically to Nigeria, exceed, I would say, right now, the current market, 8 to 9% per annum return. That's currently because of the CBN interest rates that have been set with banks and whatnot. Once you're getting more of a return like that over a year, annum, guaranteed, just understand that your capital is entirely at risk. And for most of these crowdfunding platforms, your money is at risk. You're not guaranteed to get your money back. You're just supposed to have a good likelihood, and they've put in proper protocols and whatnot. But if there's a systemic failure or a systemic problem, your money could be delayed, and in many cases, most cases, you won't get those funds back. So the first thing I would say, and maybe this should be the first rule I would say of Good Eve, is if you want to get rich, you need to be willing to get rich slowly. And so if you bear that in mind, that it's about consistency more than, oh, I make 100% today, but I lose for 10 or 100 days after, it's better for you to make 1% this month and make it consistently for 100 months than to make 100% today and then lose 1% for 100 months after that. So it's about consistency. So not to break your heart, but there are no get rich quick guaranteed schemes. There are lots of them, 99.9 of them will at some point fail, and usually within a cycle of 4 months to 12 months. Some stretch out because if enough people are paying in, they're able to use the money that's freshly paid in to pay others. But the sad reality is most of them will not. Even for a business fundamentals, understand that a business that is giving you 40%, you in essence are taking a loan. That business is in essence taking a loan from you to at the rate of more than 40%. Because if they're going to pay you 40% every 6 months, that's an 80% loan per annum. And if you were running a business, could you afford to borrow money and have to be obliged to pay back double the money within a 12-month period of time? I mean, even just looking at it from your standpoint as a human being, that is actually very wicked. I mean, why would you charge that kind of interest to a business that's trying to grow sustainably? The truth is, at some point, it doesn't take very much. A client doesn't pay on time. A vendor doesn't provide the products that need to be sold on time. Any timing issue and that business will start having financial crisis. And it becomes a ripple, a follow-on, a snowball effect until all of a sudden that business is insolvent. So sadly, I would say no, there are no get-rich-quick schemes. If you want to get rich slowly. You're looking for something that can give you consistent returns. What that does mean for you is that the thing I would advise you to invest in right now, since you shared earlier that you never really worked during your marriage, is look for how to invest in your skills. The most important thing you need to do right now, Amina, is look for a way to earn a higher salary for yourself. Think about how can I actually, the money you can double is your salary. You can double your salary potentially in the next 2 years. So think about what are the skills. If you're entry level now, okay, what are the skills? What are the experiences I need to be able to put on my CV to demonstrate that I have a more sophisticated or advanced level of performance? So if you're in your office, don't just sit there and say, I'm only going to do my job description. If you look at your job description, you think, I want to be 2 steps or 4 steps ahead of where I am in the next 2 years, go and sit with someone who's doing that job right now. If possible, get a job description of what they do. Just chat with them casually. You don't have to know that. You don't have to go and say, oh, I want to have your job in 4 years. They will frustrate you. But if you say, look, I'm interested in what you can do, what you're doing. I don't know if I can, when I have extra time, I'm happy to help you. So how does this department work? Ask them questions around what they do. Understand what the key skills are. Try and ask HR to see a job description of their job description of that role. You can go online and research the role, what the job description looks like. And then look at what employers is going to look for that role. What kind of certifications are they looking for? What kind of years of experience? What kind of projects should you have done? And guess what? The next time in the office that person has a project, volunteer to be a part of it. Ask to be the liaison from your team to be a part of it. Assist them with that work and ask questions that help you understand. Because guess what? When you go into an interview, what interviewers are looking for is for you to be able to demonstrate that you have a knowledge and you have the confidence to be able to do that. And by working with them in that ad hoc basis, you will build confidence, you will build skills, you will build experience. And if on the side, you're also working to build and get in the certifications that validate that experience by an objective, neutral body, you can go to the market 6 months from now and start applying for roles even 2-3 steps ahead of you. And before you know it, you do that a couple of times, boom, you've doubled your income. You can also do that research to understand, if today I'm earning 100,000 and in 2 years I want to earn 400,000, which types of jobs and sectors can easily pay me that money? And you begin to do the things you can to get into those sectors. You need a bigger shovel. You need to bring in more money so that you have more disposable income to invest and get rich slowly. The thing about getting rich slowly is it picks up speed. But when you start, it's going to seem slow. So it's going to be all about how much you can earn, and you're investing consistently and properly, and within a period of time, before you know it, realistically 10 years, all of a sudden you'll see the power of compound interest. And you'll look back and say, getting rich slowly is more, it's better, and it's more sustainable than getting rich quickly. So I wish you the best of luck, Amina, with that. So now we're going to go on to the second question. And this one is from John. And so I'm going to read it out. It's about mortgages, I think. So, good afternoon. I want to make some financial decisions, and I would like you to help me through. My business hit a major crash in 2021, and things haven't been so good for me. I'm 40 years old, and I have a wife and 2 kids who depend on me. The government bought the land where my shop was located, and they had to basically evict us away from that location. In the process, they demolished everything I had and chased us away. Oh, wow. I have tried everything possible since then, but things are just not the same. I eventually was advised to get a loan from a bank, but I will have to put down one of my properties as collateral. I'm thinking of the only property that I have left. I do not know so much about loans. Is it safe? How much will be my down payment for a loan? Is it worth the risk? Please advise me. Oh, wow, John. Wow, John. Well, first of all, I hope in business there are always setbacks, and some of them can be really devastating. I can't imagine getting to your business that morning and finding all your goods destroyed or seized and your structure in shambles. So I really want to apologize and send out my heartfelt sympathies for that. I can see that, like Amina, you have the spirit of never can die, and that's really, really important. It does sound like, though, listening from your message, that you are still struggling emotionally from the trauma of what has happened. And I'd really like to advise you to go get into a good church structure. There are a lot of really good churches that provide free psychological counseling. It will really, really help you, because really, the kind of trauma you're probably passing through, it can shake your confidence. It can shake your faith in man. It can shake your faith in God. And so I'd really like to encourage you, just in addition to my other more financial advice, to really, really speak with a counselor, speak with a therapist. Like I said, several churches offer these services, and just speak with them and get that grounding. They can offer you materials and books and resources that can help you to come back to yourself slowly over time. Now, because I know you have a wife and 2 children, we need to talk about the more practical elements of how do you start up again. And it sounds from what you're saying that you need to take a loan. Now, most loans won't require you to make a down payment. So as to that question, you won't need to make any down payment. They shouldn't be asking you to pay to get a loan. Only fraudulent financial institutions will ask you to pay to get a loan. However, how much you can get for that loan will depend on the value and the kind of documentation that you have on your property. So if you have your land has been properly registered, you either have a certificate of occupancy, and this is talking about Nigeria, or you have governor's consent, and it's in an area that has a location that has good financial value, then they'll be able to lend you some money, about maybe 80%, sometimes 50% of the equivalent value that property has been valued at by an independent valuer, not by the person that sold it to you. So do I think it's a good idea for you to take a loan? The truth is, if you've been a business person all your life, business is what you know, then I don't think you have much of a choice. You have to source for funds where you can get it. The other thing I would probably suggest is, right now, since you're in such a precarious situation, you didn't have enough financial reserves to start your business in the light of this type of crisis, it's probably a good idea, if it's possible, for your wife to also begin to seek work and to also have a source of income. But yes, I definitely think it's a good idea to take a loan at a time like this. Do your best to negotiate a really competitive rate. Also try and get credit from your creditors, let them know what's happened. Your vendors or your suppliers, let them know what's happened, so they'll extend you a line of credit as well. But you're definitely going to have to take debt. In this case, it's a good idea in order to start your business again. I wish you the best of luck, John, in this new venture. So that's it today. I've been able to answer 2 questions, and I'd like to hear in the comments, do you have any more advice for Amina, and do you have any more advice for John? Bye for now.